So this is going to be very different. I've had an absolutely rancid week, and I don't know, I'm just going to talk about it because it's important. So, when I was 23, wow, when I was 22, God started telling me that, I lived in Wisconsin and had a lot of problems. That sums me up pretty well about then. Lived in Wisconsin, had a lot of problems. God told me when I was 22, started putting in my heart that one day I'd move down here to Tennessee. And one of the main verses that he used was this verse I kept seeing it. It said, "Run to the mountains for your deliverance." And my mom was always taking pictures of the mountains she'd visit down here, and it was kind of obvious where God wanted me to go. Anyway, this isn't the time to get into every single nitty-gritty detail, but I came here for deliverance because I had problems, addictions, crap in my head, depression, and a lot of problems that didn't even fully manifest till I was down here. So I did it. I moved. I quit my job that I've been working hard at for 5 years, building myself up. I was about to get a raise and a promotion and actually make it in the world's eyes, I suppose, at the job I was at. God told me to quit, so I quit. My life was full of loss, losing people walking away from me, people being, all sorts of people, family, not being able to talk to most of my family because they're just two-faced and drama and chaos and drugs and alcohol and just not good people to be around. And so after all the loss of my life, God said, all right, now what little you do have, your 1 or 2, 3 friends, your job that you've worked hard at, everything, you're going to leave it all. I said, okay. Did it. I came down here because God promised me deliverance, and I got down here and I went to church. I don't think the very first Sunday I did go to church, but it was where God told me to, and it was a beautiful thing. The message was exactly what I needed. It was a very special thing. And then the next time I went to church, I went with my mom to a church she was going to, and she ended up talking to the pastor of the church and said, "Hey, my son, God told him to move down here for deliverance, and could you just pray with him for it?" And he said, "Yeah." So he called me up to the front of the church, and I had, I think every guy in the church, there were about 40 guys, all pray for me. Please God deliver him, praying for me, and it was a whole thing. And I left church and I went and sat down with my mom for lunch after church, and found out very quickly that I wasn't delivered because all the demons in my head, the gloves were off. There's no some people, they hide and they just, because they don't know it's a demon, so it's better that way. So you live cluelessly and you don't know what it is, and so, but for me, there's no sense hiding because I know what it is and I know what they are. And so when I sat down for lunch with my mom, they started screaming at me in my head, and voices I couldn't shut out no matter how hard I tried, and they said, "Do you think it's going to be that easy to get rid of us?" And I said, "Okay, so this is going to be fun." So I kept going, and a lot happened. This is just mainly about not everything, like I said. I don't want to waste too much time, but after a lot of pain and loss, even after I got down here, man, I struggle with my addictions, depression, insane depression. My second year down here, something sort of came to fruition, something that had been lingering and building up, and it finally popped, I guess, for lack of a better phrase. It's called agoraphobia. If you don't know what it is, look it up. A very rudimentary description of what agoraphobia is. It means you're not mentally allowed to leave your house. Your brain can't handle it. You have to stay home. You just can't. That was just one of the things, and so after I had been here for a year and a half, God had been talking to me and revealing things. Hey, one of the demons that you struggle with, his name's Leviathan. He kind of sucks. Nobody likes him. Yada yada. Learning stuff. And so, this was about a year and a half after I'd been down here. God told me, he said, in 6 months, you're going to go on a 3 day fast. You're going to go up to the top of this very specific mountain for deliverance. I said, okay. Well, it's about time. Because 6 months later, man, that's 6 months don't sound like a long time, but when you got agoraphobia and you got extreme depression and sleep paralysis and you're getting suffocated and you're sleeping violently shaken and you got voices screaming in your head all day and 6 months is a long friggin' time. Somehow I made it. And 6 months later, I went on a 3 day fast. And I went up to the mountain and I prayed to God. I went up there and I was so ready. I had been holding out for this moment as it was, it's a friggin' war to just exist. And I finally made it up there. When we got up to the mountain, I opened my Bible up and I quoted King Solomon. When the speech King Solomon gave when he dedicated the temple, I prayed that to God because I wanted to be the temple that was dedicated to him. And we stayed up there. It was I'll go into detail about it later. It was a terrifying experience, but being up on that mountain, because God told us to go up at midnight and stay till 4 a.m, the Ezekiel Watchman times. And I got back, and the voices were still there. The addictions were still there. Everything was still there. And I was so broken. 2 years I've been here waiting for this promise for deliverance. 2 years. And I know it was God that told me to go up there. I know it was God. And stuff, my mama was there with me and she said, bro, this was God. And stuff was happening that it was only God. It could have only been God. And it just didn't happen. So I came back from the mountain that night and I crashed hard. Just utter hopelessness. Everything. And I crashed hard, and couple days, couple weeks, started to try to pick up the pieces and keep going. What choice do you really have? People say keep going like you have any other friggin' choice. A month and a half after I moved down here, it all got so bad, so violent that I tried to kill myself and it didn't work. And God told me, the reason your suicide attempt didn't work is because I didn't let it work. It would have if I didn't step in. God told me that. Yeah. So I can't. Do you remember in the movie, in the Justice League? This is going to sound random. Do you remember in the Justice League movie when Superman was mad at the Justice League and he said, you won't let me live and you won't let me die? Mm-hmm. I felt that. Mm-hmm. God wouldn't let me, he wouldn't let me die. He stopped my suicide attempt. He said, no. There's better things for you, apparently. That's what he keeps going on about. There's better things for you, and he won't let me live. He won't deliver me. He won't free me. So I was very distraught. I didn't know what the heck to do. I just kept going. But like I said, it's a joke to say keep going. You don't have a choice, bro. Time just keeps rolling. Just get with it or don't. So I kept going, and then a year later, God told me to go on a fast. for 3 days. And I said, okay. God didn't say why or anything. He just said, go on a fast. And so I went on the fast a year later. This is after 3 years of me being down here now. I went on a fast for 3 days. And on the night of the second day, sort of I start my fast at night, like 8 p.m. one day to 8 p.m. whatever. I just started at night. So on the night of the second day, halfway through the 3-day fast, I was laying in bed, asleep. I was sleeping. And I woke up for a brief moment. Now, I have a lot of experience with spiritual, supernatural, you're half awake, half asleep things. Usually it's sleep paralysis, which sucks. But usually it's demonic. But this time it kind of wasn't. I could tell it was different. I was sleeping, and in the middle of the night, I just kind of opened my eyes a little bit. I was awake, and I felt this heaviness on me. And as I opened my eyes ever so slightly, kind of woke up, I felt hands on top of my own arms, like somebody put their arm perfectly on top of mine. I felt it on both arms, and I felt it lift off me. And I had this hot flash followed by a cold flash, and I felt 10 pounds lighter. Mm-hmm. And then I fell back to sleep. And I woke up, I'm like, yo, what the heck was that? And so for the next couple of days, I'm like thinking about it and praying about it. And I'm like, when I went up to that mountain and nothing happened, I got back, and slowly over the course of a few months, my agoraphobia went away. I was like, yeah, God fixed it. I didn't understand it. It was a good thing. So I blamed God. Woohoo! In God we boast. Praise Jesus. I didn't understand it. Whatever demon that was afflicting me, or whatever, attached to me, oppressing me, whatever, that was responsible for agoraphobia, got absolutely murked on top of that mountain. And this is starting to click with me. The reason I'd get so heavily attacked and all the voices and all this after these instances, because I talked about my suicide attempt that happened that happened about 10 hours after my first deliverance, even though I didn't know it was deliverance, because the voices are still there, the torment is still there, all this evil, I can feel it, it's still there. But then the mountain, the agoraphobia went away, which had been building up for years and years and years. It just, like I said, popped when I got down here. I mean, it started when I was 20, maybe even before. But then this thing, God told me to go on a fast, and I literally felt something evil and gross get removed from off me. I'm like, that's... So I'm starting to understand now. Deliverance is coming in installments. Yeah. There's multiple demons. Because I always, the way the Bible talks about it, deliverance is a one-day deal. It's like this penultimate act where God rends the heavens and slaughters my enemies that are afflicting his beautiful baby boy, and I grab his hand and we dance and frolic in the streets of New Jerusalem for all eternity. It's a one-time thing. Yeah. That's what I understood it as. But it's not. So, after... this has been a great year, and it's been a wretched year. Mm-hmm. Both. Right. Yep. Kind of funny, you can't really seem to get one without the other, but it is what it is. So God revealed to me that I had 6 demons. He told me one of them was named Claws. I don't know whatever. God told me one of them was named Claws. That's the one he got rid of on my 3-day fast when I felt something lift off me. That's what that was. And that was the demon responsible for my self-harm addiction. And my self-harm addiction was never it wasn't an everyday thing for me. It was sometimes. Sometimes it was that bad. It was every day. But usually it was months apart between me self-harming. So it was like, you kind of don't know if you're free, or has it just been a couple months and it's gonna you don't know.
Right.
But I've been completely free from it, and that's what that was. So God also told me that he had delivered me from 4, so there's 2 left. And God told me, now we're catching up here. God told me about 3 months ago that the 2 left I was going to get delivered from, and he told me to go up to that same mountain and get baptized. He told me specifically, go up there, get baptized. How did he tell me? I keep saying God told me this, God told me that. Maybe you're new at this. I'm new at this. I'll tell you what that means. When I say God told me, did I hear a knock at my front door? I open it, and it's the Ancient of Days with the glowing sun face and brass feet and the voice of it wasn't that. It wasn't that. It was dreams, visions, couple visions. I haven't had many. I've had a few. Dreams mainly. It's when dreams and the Bible start to echo each other. That's how you know they're kind of valid. If you have a dream, it's a dream. If you read a verse, a little bit more potent than just a dream. Obviously, it's the Word of God, but I don't mean to sound dismissive, but it is just a verse. Okay? And you take it and you read it and you apply it to your life, and it's great. But what makes it, you read that King David, whatever, slaughtered 13,000 of his enemies, and you read it and you're like, I gotta go kill 13,000 people. Dude, chill. That's not what it. That's what I mean. I'm not trying to be disrespectful and downplay what the Word of God is, but you, in order for you to take a verse at face value and apply it to your life, it's this sort of, you feel it inside, and the closest definition is a guess, which isn't what I'd like to say, but it's faith, and that's what it is. And so God told me 2 left. Go up to the mountain and get baptized. And I said, okay, when? And a little bit of time went by. And God told me on 9/11. And I said, okay. Well, I didn't even know if it was God at first, but I kept just feeling like 9/11, and I kept seeing 9/11 everywhere in the darndest places, and I'm just seeing all this 9/11 stuff. So I prayed to God. I'm like, is it 9/11? What? That's like a horrible day, And I was praying about it and thinking about it, and I'm like, wait a second. At the beginning of the year, God revealed to me that there are 2 strongholds in my life. Strongholds, the best of my understanding, what a stronghold is it's something that you believe that's wrong. Something wrong that you believe, but you believe it so heavily that you don't even think about the fact that you believe it. Like, this floor is going to support my weight if I walk to the bathroom, but I'm not worrying about it when I walk to the bathroom. I'm not even thinking about it. It's a belief you have that's so ingrained in you that you don't even realize it's there. The 2 strongholds I have, one was a lot of the churches I grew up in, the perfectionism, a lot of that. The stronghold was that I need to prove myself to everybody. That was one of the strongholds. Prove yourself to this person, prove yourself to this dude and that person, and this, proof. That was one of the strongholds. The other stronghold was that I believed that I wasn't worth saving. And I just didn't. So God told me to go up there on 9/11. I was so confused by it. I'm like, there's 2 demons left. And there's 2 strongholds. 9/11 is the day when the Twin Towers were destroyed. I got 2 strongholds. Those are like towers. I'm like, oh, that makes sense now.
Right.
The 2 strongholds are going to get destroyed. That makes sense. Okay. So I'm going. God's confirming it. Then one of the demons I got gave me a dream. God gives you dreams. Devil gives you dreams. Everybody gives you dreams. It's crazy. You watch a movie, you have a dream about it. That movie gave you a dream. Mm-hmm. Everybody gives you a dream. Anyway, one of the demons I got gave me a dream. It was a whole thing, but what the message amounted to was, even after the baptism, I'm still going to be there. The demon was saying, I'm still going to be there because you can't kill me. That's not going to work on me. So I'm like, okay, wake up from that. I don't want to get too scared, but I don't want to get cocky. So I prayed about it. I was like, hey, Lord, it's your boy again. Boy, howdy, do I be having dreams or what? This is literally how I pray. Word for word. Boy, howdy, sir. I'm just in it right now, and that's how I pray, word for word. I don't put on the front, bro. I got the energy to put on the front. There's no point trying to put on the front on with God. Boy, howdy, do I be having dreams or what? This flipping thing. And this is what I says to God. I says, this flipping thing's trying to tell me he's not gonna die. What's up with that? And I'm worried. I'm like, because, that can go, I was praying to God, and I'm like, if I don't know what's going to happen, that's going to go wrong no matter what I believe. If I believe it's gone and it's not, problems, big problems. I've got a lot of experience with these demons. They will monopolize on that and crush me if I think it's gone and it's not. If I think it's still there but it's gone, problems, because I'm living tensed up, waiting for it, and it's not ever going to come. But I'm just tensed up, waiting for it. I was praying to God, so I was like, I need to know what to think. Hold on a second. I'm going to